Dr. Lim here. I'm in Langkawi now and recording this video in a veranda. And you can see the outdoor background behind me. It may be a bit noisy, but at least it is a natural environment and no video superimposing is necessary. After so many months locked down due to COVID, I'm breathing some fresh air right now. Today we are going to talk about how to serve our fifth group of customer, the adult. After the natal care, child care, student, young men and young women. Now this is the fifth group. As usual, before we serve any customer, we must ask, what are the needs of our customer? We are not just crazy in sharing Geronoma and forget about what their needs are. Just like in Sunya, we are not just crazy to teach what is in our mind, but rather to solve the emotional and doubts of the fellow Sunyati. Only those who can serve the customers nicely will win the market, not the one who is crazy to promote their products. So, what are the needs of the matured men and women, the adults? Mainly, there are two concerns for adults: how to handle the depression and practice the healthy sexual health. When you enter adulthood, a lot of pressures are on your shoulder. You need to find enough cash and money to feed the family, bring comfort and a good living standard to the family. You need to be successful in your career. You need to excel in what you are doing. The result is 1 out of 2 adults, they are facing emotional problem or emotional challenges. So how to manage stress is important for the adult. Next, you need to get married, then having a healthy sexual life to enjoy yourself as a human being and to produce offspring for your family. So sexual health care is another important aspect for the adult. Can the physical products like Geronoma handle the mental problem like depression? Over the past 30 years, we are facing the problem of handling depression from the very first day until now. And we have gained a lot of experiences in handling the depression. There are 2 approaches to handle depression. One is to use the antidepressant drugs, and the other way is to regulate the body. We are not in favor of using the antidepressant drugs on a long-term basis. We do not go against the drug. When a person is seriously affected by depression, sometimes use the drugs to calm him down is necessary. What we are discussing here is how to avoid depending on the drugs on a long-term basis. The main problem of many antidepressant drugs is to kill your emotion. You do not feel depressed. You also do not feel excited. You feel nothing. Then we have a problem. When a person is over-depending on the depression drugs, his emotion becomes flat and all color in life becomes gray and uninteresting. Many years ago, I had a genotherapy session in Europe. In front of me, there was a psychiatrist who was specializing in treating depression. I talked about reverse counting to couple with the taking of Geronoma to handle depression. During the Q&A, he told me my methods were dangerous. As the mind becomes blank during reverse counting, the depressed person may turn wild and uncontrollable. I asked her how she treated the acute depression then. She said she used hypnosis to find out what was the cause of the trauma and then discuss the trauma and couple it with depression drugs. I told her this was even a more risky method. When a person already hides the trauma in the subconscious, you go and dig it out. If you are not careful, he will suffer the same trauma the second time and sometimes the damage to emotion is even more difficult to treat. She agreed with me actually and asked what was my method. I told her reverse counting is the important method to handle depression. We train the practitioner to detach from whatever he feels. At the time, I did not call the reverse counting Sunya. Now, if I say the Sunyati, then you know who is the one who practiced Sunya, even before we coin the name Sunya to the practice yet. During the reverse counting, sometimes the past trauma does surface out, no? And the Sunyati will face a lot of emotional pressure. But we train the Sunyati to keep counting the breath, no? And ignore the feelings. This is against the hypnosis to ask about the feeling and to analyze the feeling. No? By ignoring the feeling, the trauma that is hidden in the subconscious that affects the emotion of the Sunyati will slowly release out and then disappear. Release out again and disappear. After many practice, the trauma basically will disappear totally and seldom surface out anymore. At the same time, we address Gyanolama to the patients. That will strengthen the body. Mind and body cannot be separated. Once the body is okay, the mind is okay. This is a much better way and safer way to handle depression. She was amazed by my theory, and after the meeting, she came to see me and told me she has depression. That sounds funny to me, you know. She was an expert in depression and herself was suffering from depression. I asked her why. She said after dealing with emotional sick patient for 5 years now she was emotionally sick too and felt depressed. But she was happy to hear something different to treat the depression, and she herself wanted to give it a try. In the next day, I'm still around, and she said she wished to bring a serious case of neurotic patient to meet me. The day after the meeting, she brought a young man of hardly 25 years old, a quiet and well-kept young man now. Wore the dress and combed the hair very neatly. But something very wrong with his expression now. His eye looked blank and as though not interested in anything. The young man told me after taking the drugs, she became a walking zombie. He did not feel depressed, of course, but also did not feel excited with life. In Sunya, we call it a donkey stage. What was serious was that he felt there was no point to live in this world, and many times even thinking of committing suicide. Immediately I sensed this was a serious case. He told me he felt he was a failure in life and good for nothing. I told him the world was not perfect. Whatever we do, 80% of the results are failures. It is a series of failures after failures. Failure itself is not the problem, but the sense of defeat, the sense of guilt is more serious than the mistake you committed. I told him we need to discuss, no need to discuss his failure and how his relationship with a girl, he was madly in love but broken up. He just need to reverse count his breathing, keep counting until it was successful. He couldn't even count from 10 to 1. A serious depression case for sure. He told me the reverse counting was so difficult. I told him it was difficult because he suffered from serious depression. At the end, he told me he did not think reverse counting from 10 counts was a big deal, and he would practice until he could reverse count it. Then I asked him to take mega dosage and do some walking exercise every day if possible. Time passed, and after some time I visited Europe again. The young man and the psychiatrist came to see me. Both were very happy with the practice and the products. The psychiatrist told me she started to apply my method to her patients and the results were good. The testimony of the young man was very interesting. After taking mega doses and practicing reverse counting, in about 2 weeks' time, one afternoon he hears some drop in the brain, then suddenly all the colors come back. Many Sunyati and those who are undergoing genotherapy have similar experiences. Suddenly the color in the surrounding become very brilliant and striking and beautiful. He suddenly felt relief, serene, and his heart felt with love. I always stress, love should not be practiced artificially, With good practice of Sunya and genotherapy, it comes naturally. And this testimony is one of the good proofs. The world became interesting to the young man again, and eventually even he stopped taking the drug. And he still felt good. He just came to thank me. Over the years, we have handled numerous depression cases. If I told you the testimonial one by one, you take many videos to do that. I just bring it from time to time, so you need not worry about it. You will hear a lot of it in future. By right, I should keep on telling you the testimony, but today I'm very busy. I'm in Langkawi now to acquire an island, and today shall sign the agreement with the authority. It will be good in the future when you come to Langkawi, Malaysia, for a spa in DXN Hot Spring, and Sunya on the beach of DXN Island. The island of DXN will be your island because you are DXN. DXN is you. I shall tell you more about depression handling and sexual health care in my next video. See you all soon. Maybe in the resort of DXN. Bye bye.